Howdy, y'all.
Hi, guys.
It's Ryan
And Angela.
from RNA Music. Vintage, Vola, vintage. RNA Music, your favorite mom and pop guitar shop, music lesson studio. Deep in the heart of Texas. We're back in the room.
Yes, we are.
This is the room from the original FAQ Friday Ask RNA episodes, way back episode. This is episode 307?
Yep.
307. So 306 episodes, we started right in this room.
Mm-hmm.
How fitting, we're back. Anyways, we are here to answer your questions in our weekly Ask RNA show.
Yes.
Let's get to the questions. All right, y'all, welcome back. As we said, this is episode 307. Angela, 307 episodes. 307. We're in my lesson room that I teach out of, which is where we used to film all of the Ask RNAs back in the day.
First, 250.
Yeah, quite a few. Anyways, and we are back. Like I said, we have a little music shop and lesson studio where we teach music
That's right.
to people in East Texas. And we're going to answer some questions. If you're new here, please subscribe, consider, watch. I think you'll probably enjoy it. Stick around, ask a question. You might get it answered next week. Yes. Our longtime viewers who've been around since episode 1 or episode 150.
Something like that.
Thank you guys for being here. Do us a favor, go ahead and thumbs up the video, because if you're a longtime viewer, you obviously like it.
Yeah.
So please give us a thumbs up. Get your comment fingers ready for your comments and or questions. And if you want some swaggity swag, not vintage motorcycle swag or Vola guitar swag, but some RNA Music swaggity swag, link down in the description down there. You can go get you a t-shirt or some leggings.
Which I still haven't gotten.
Or some socks or a cuppy cup. Or whatever you want if you would like to show some kind of support for what we do.
It's a
supporty stuff, whatever. Go check that stuff out. And then without further ado, let's get to the questions. First question, Terry Starks. Now that Texas is opening up more, is y'all's enrollment at the music school started to increase, and is there going to be a summer outdoor concert of the students? Thanks again for all y'all do for music and small shops everywhere. Thank you, Terry. Actually our enrollment is way up.
Yes.
It's been up for a good while.
Honestly, as soon as school started, we had a huge swing up of students last year. Yeah.
Well, we had a little bit of drop off back about a year ago. We had to close the doors for about 8 weeks total. We weren't allowed to let anybody in the shop. But we continued to teach anyways, not, Skype.
Yeah, via video.
FaceTime, YouTube, private YouTube videos, all that kind of stuff. We continued to teach while we couldn't see people face to face. And that only really lasted for about 8 weeks here.
That's weird that we actually had to do that.
That was actually, very strange now to think about. But pretty much immediately as soon as we were allowed by the government to let people in our business, almost every single student was like, all right, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yes.
They were all chomping at the bit to get back to their
They really were. We only
lessons.
had maybe 2 or 3 that were like, oh, y'all are going back? Okay.
We had a couple that were like, hey, can we keep doing Skype
Video
lessons for another couple of weeks? We're like, sure. Yeah, if you want to. If it makes you feel
more
better.
Comfortable,
they wanted to wait a few more weeks. But, we don't have 1,000 people at a time in the shop, right?
No.
It's a small town. We live in a small rural town. Terry knows. You've been here. Terry's been here. It's not a huge building, but we don't generally have, 50 people at a time in here. It's usually 1 or 2 or 3 come in, they go out. 2 or 3 come in, they go out. 2 or 3 come in, go out. So it's like...
So we've been technically social distancing since the
beginning. We've always social distanced.
We've always done that.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
But, But yeah, so pretty soon after that, I mean, it's been full. And we like right now, like because today is the last for some kiddos around here. This is their last week of school. For some kids, the last week was the last week of school. So right now there's a little bit of flux with the schools out for summer. And so we have a little bit of openings popping up, but we also have people immediately calling for lessons. So we, this spring, just in the past few months, I think we hit our biggest enrollment we've ever had.
Yeah.
We had
like 60.
Yeah, like 60-ish students, which is the most I think we've ever had enrolled at one time here.
Because again, it's just Ryan and I.
Yeah,
if
it's just the two of us.
If we had other subcontractors, teachers, then we could easily have more. But between the two of us, we were at max capacity for. Yeah. And we have been, really, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, for a long time, really. But yeah, it's busy. We're as busy or busier than we've ever been teaching. I don't know if we'll do an outdoor thing in the summer. It's hot.
Right.
We've already done our winter recital.
Yeah. We have 3, well, I'm planning with my students, farmers market performances. So.
Are you?
Yes.
Nice.
We'll have 3 of those, but those are early mornings, so it's not, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the heat of the day type stuff. So. Yeah. But that's only once a month.
Are we doing a recital in July?
Yes.
Oh crap. Okay, I was like, what month is this? Oh crap, we're almost in June. Oh man. Oh man, that's like 6 weeks away. Time's been flying.
It really has.
We'll have a summer recital like we always do at the venue that we always do.
It'll be back to normal.
Yeah, that's right. This last recital we did, we had kids come in one at a time. They got up on the stage, and of course we had the bands. They did the bands thing, but we didn't really have any of the parents come in. The parents of the student could come in and watch, and then they left, and then the next student came in, and their family came in. So it was a little rotating door.
The student that was lined up after them would sit on the very back row, and then the student, it was done, their parents would get them, and they would go out a separate door, and then that kid would move up, and the next parent. So it was like this revolving door of students.
When was that?
Huh?
Was it January?
The last Sunday in January.
I don't even remember now. Yeah, but I think this time we'll be back to normal.
Yeah, we'll definitely, because everybody's meeting back. Texas has been like officially open for a while now, so we won't have.
Rural Texas has been open anyways.
Yeah,
like F y'all guys, we can't tell me
fall,
what to do.
Like we have a autumn stroll where people get to know all the local businesses in the fall. This past fall, 2020 fall, in the autumn
a giant carnival.
We had a literally giant carnival, and there was easily like 700 people in our town square. It was packed.
Yeah.
It was packed. We're at booth to booth to booth. I mean, like this with
strangers,
no masks, and this was during the lockdown still. So
this is back in the fall.
Yeah, back in the fall in 2020. So yeah, our town was like, we don't care.
Good Lord said.
And people who wanted to stay home stayed home, and people who wanted to get out got out. So we won't have a problem with being out and doing stuff like that, because people are just kind of like,
all right, we're over this.
We do what we want.
Yeah.
And that's just Texas anyways. So.
Yeah, generally. Well, Terry's in Texas.
Yeah.
But he's in
being in northern Texas and rural Texas, central big city Texas is a big difference, but
yeah, small towns a little bit more relaxed than the big cities generally. So thank you for the question, Terry. Appreciate it, man, as always. All right, next question. Anthony Baltusis. I think this is a first-time questioner. Anthony says, how did you grow such an epic beard? Longest I got was 2 inches, and it was one big curl. Help. All right, thank you. A beard question. A serious beard question, finally. Well, as far as how I grew it, it was basically, it's a one-step process. It's basically, don't shave. I stopped shaving.
Yeah.
And waited. You have to stop shaving and then wait forever. And now...
And stroke it and talk to it.
Water it with the tears of your enemies.
Like a plant. You have to say, you're a good beard. You
say sweet things to it.
Lovely beard. You're very strong and majestic beard.
Right. So now there is Anthony, okay, we just said this. We got 307 Ask RNA videos. This isn't a playlist. Go back. Go back to episode number 1 of Ask RNA. Just scroll through the playlist and you can
just see the thumbnails.
You'll see the progression of no beard and just a tiny goatee, medium beard, chin strap, goatee, a little bit bigger beard. You'll see the a beard maybe this size.
Yeah, so it's like this.
Yeah, you can go watch all the phases of the beard, but it's basically just don't shave, and you're gonna go through just like growing. No, now I don't really do this.
And you'll see hair changes of Angela's over
hair
the years. Straight, short, long.
Like if you're a dude
curly.
And you want to grow out long hair, long, luscious, golden locks, you go through like ugly phases of growing out your hair, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of funky looking, but you got
the right product.
You got to go through that to get to the length, you know.
Yeah. Same
Same thing with the beard. You're gonna go through phases where it's like, it's not doing what I want it to. It's like, well, you just gotta wait and let it grow. So yeah, I mean, and it's gonna curl sometimes until you get the length there.
You'll have these little, like he would get these little
swoopies,
like,
cowlicks.
Yeah, like they were just pushing back. So it won't be in your way.
With the curl, you get the pomade or the beard balm and oil stuff. But really, though, I mean, the real answer is it's sort of genetics, man. It's like
pretty much
some guys can grow long beards. Some guys, like my barber for a long time, the bearded barber, his beard was like this. I was like, dude, how long have you been growing your beard? And he's like, 2 years. And I'm like, oh. So, I mean, there's a set point where it stops. And it won't just grow to the floor.
Right.
I mean, some people's will. Some people's will grow 2 inches and then it stops and it won't grow any further. Genetics. So, I mean, that is what it is. Some people are tall. Some people are short. Some people have more fat cells. Some people don't have any fat cells and they can eat everything.
Hair is the same way.
Yeah, it's genetics, man. So give it another shot and just be prepared. Mine was like, I wonder if I could go for like a year.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always had
the first goal.
I've always had a beard or facial hair of some kind, but I never
That's true.
never a significant beard really. And until I decided to go, I think I'll try the 1 year and see what happens. And then it got pretty long. I can't remember. There's pictures somewhere. And then I was like, wow, 1 year, man. I wonder what 2 years would look like. And then it was like, once you hit that first goal, there's never an ending goal. Right? Well, for me, it was 2 years. I'm like, all right, that's pretty good. Let's trim it back up a little bit. But yeah, just don't shave and have patience and just wait and see what the genetics give you. Thank you for the question. Y'all go check out those old, you want to laugh, go check out some really old episodes of Ask RNA and you'll see what we're talking about. All right. Thank you, Anthony. Next question, Pat Delaney, also from Texas, because he's been into the store.
Yes.
It says, question, how do you guys stay motivated when students turn up unprepared? Guessing you send them off with guitar parts or vocal exercises to work on. It must be soul destroying when they turn up and obviously haven't worked on anything. It's what stops me looking into teaching. Hashtag ninja drink. All right, Angela, how do you stay motivated when students turn up unprepared?
I think I learned long ago when we first started, especially since I usually had the youngest students that we've taught, that to not expect them to be anything bigger or greater than, what they're going to be. It's more than likely they're not going to be some epic whoever. They're not going to go on to win America's Got Talent or go on to a record deal or cut an album. More than likely they're not. More than likely they're going to find cheerleading, or they're going to go back to softball, or they're going to get basketball, or they're going to become emo, or they're going to do something different, and they're going to quit.
So we lower the standards.
Yes, you lower your expectations, not standards, because our standards are still pretty high. Because every once in a while you will have that kid that's going to be like, yeah, I practiced, and you want to hear me? I've been trying so hard to get this down. I finally got it, But for the most part, I would say 80% of the time, 85, 90, 95% of the time, they're not going to they're not going to practice. They're not going to even look at their music until they get in the car to come to you in their lesson. They're just not. And so what I started to realize is like, well, first of all, they're just kids.
Yeah.
You know, kids are very absent-minded. They're at the whim and the mercy of the schedule of their school, their extracurricular activities, and their parents. So 9 times out of 10,
and they might be in too many extracurriculars.
Right. And we have lots of kids that are in that, and they're spread extremely thin. And honestly, unfortunately, music tends to be more like school than anything else. So whenever they go to cheerleading, gymnastics, basketball, baseball, whatever like that, that's
kind
fun.
of like playing. Like
that's
recess.
going to the gym. That's going to gym time. That's going to play time. Coming to here, you're learning theory. You're learning how to read music, numbers, letters, alphabet. You're having to focus. That's more like school to them.
It's a little more academic.
Unfortunately, music turns to that ear with children. So when I started realizing that, I was like, you know what, I'm not going to put heavy expectations. I do have expectations, and we do tell them, because in our policy we say, you know, if your child shows up unprepared and unwilling to do the work after a certain amount of time, we will dismiss them, because obviously this isn't something that they really want to do. And I don't like my time being wasted, and I know you don't like your money being wasted. And we let them know, like, at the very beginning.
We will fire students.
And sometimes we have to remind them. It's like, okay, like just recently, I just had to tell a student and their parents, I was like, this is the 4th time he showed up, and he's been extremely apathetic. And it's not just like, I'm just a kid and I don't know how to do this. It's like completely apathetic and not prepared. And, you know, I'm having to constantly kind of get on to him more than I am teaching him. So I was like, I'm going to give him to the end of the month, which is only 2 lessons left, to get his act together and to get a steady practice time and everything. Go ahead. Yeah. I know, right?
It's a big one.
I told you.
It's a Texas fly.
It's back. It wants that light.
I'm gonna get him.
It's a big fly. It's a horse. It looks like a horse fly.
You done messed up now, fly.
Just don't break the light. Oh, you got a slappy hand.
That's my slapping hand.
Oh, there it goes. I think it popped onto your desk. Oh, it's on your phone.
Ew. I put that on my face.
On my face.
It's on my face, okay? I smote him like this on the light.
It's like merely a flesh wound.
That is the biggest fly.
It looks like a dead spider on the floor. That's how big it is.
Yeah, it's a fly.
Yeah.
Like a common housefly. But it's this big around. It's a Texas housefly.
Yes. It's like a Volkswagen.
They don't have those in Alaska. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So anyways, it just to summarize all that up, that's basically what you do. You go into it knowing that this is fun. Try to make it as fun as possible. Don't try to put what you would have wanted to do as that age, if you wish that you would have accomplished at that age, if you would have put in that work and that expectation on that kid. Even if you see the talent in that kid. Because like with our children are extremely musically talented and inclined. Really, they're talented on every aspect. I'm not just saying that. They literally can pick up anything, and they were like, is this how you do it? And it's perfect. And I was like, that's awesome. You should really apply yourself. Yeah. And it's like, God. So, I mean, I get it. But I'm not going to be like, well, I wish I would have done that. So I'm going to try to force you into this pocket because I want you to be what I could have been at that age if I would have just had somebody to push me. Because then more than likely, you know, they're not going to do it. And that's okay. I just try to make it as fun as possible and as something that they would want to keep doing. And so I lean towards their interests instead of trying to force them into my pocket of learning and what I would want them to learn. There are certain things that are, of course, expected of them through the books and stuff like that. But for the most part, I try to get them to play stuff that they like and engage them because I don't want them to lose interest in music. Because at times, unfortunately, music is freaking boring. The part that takes you to get to the place where they want to go, that little transit train ride to their destination, is boring. It's like being in a tunnel instead of seeing the countryside of Paris. It takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of dedication, and most kids don't have that, and that's just how it is. But if you go in there thinking that, then you can have fun. You can joke, you can laugh, you can say, okay, this is why I'm teaching you this, because you want to be able to, you want to play this. Oh yeah, this is how this goes. This is really cool. Or hey, how about you play this, and I'm going to sing along with you. So you're going to accompany me, and I'm going to sing the song. Like we have our music books. It's Primer. What is it called? Was it Faber books?
Piano Adventures.
And so Piano Adventures. So, but all the songs have, almost all the songs have lyrics that go with it. Well, the kids who play the piano, they don't sing. Half of them most of them don't sing. And so I'm like, okay, you play, and I'm going to sing the lyrics to this song. And so they were like, okay. And so they play, and they're like, well, let me try this time. And I'm like, okay, cool. And it makes it more enjoyable and more like fun and kind of play, but they are learning something. They're not only learning their music piece and how to sing in time because someone's singing along with them, but they're learning accompaniment. And that's huge. So lower your standard.
Expect not much.
Don't expect much from them.
Right.
Teach them everything, but don't expect much in return. You know.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty much the same thing. Now, I think for me, because I've practiced for a long time. I've taught for a long time, and I went to school to be a music educator. And I've in the public school system. Band stuff, but for me, I think I learned, it took me a couple of years a while to get to the point where I have students who didn't practice. It used to frustrate me.
Yeah.
I used to be like, oh my God, why do what's the deal? Why won't you practice? And I think over the years of having done it for a long time now and having taught a lot of different kinds of people and students and personalities, I realized like not every person takes lessons for the same reason.
Right.
You think it's like they want to learn to play the guitar. Well, maybe they want to do something that's not basketball, because I have kiddos who are in schools where they're obsessed with basketball, like state champions nonstop, and they're like, and they don't have it, and they do not have a choice. You you are playing basketball, and it's just they don't have, and they do it, and they might be good at it, but they don't love it, but they have no choice. And so for them, it's like they're here. Yeah, they like music, and the other one do guitar. Maybe they can't practice the guitar very much because they have to play frickin' 5 hours of basketball every single day all year round. But they're into it, but they can't do the time. So I have to kind of realize like, okay, this kid, they need an escape from something else. So guitar lesson time, or drum lesson time, or piano lesson times, it's almost an escape from other things for them, for this particular kiddo.
Yeah.
And so for them, like, I don't give them a hard time if they didn't really practice. They're like, Miss, I didn't really practice this week. I was like, yeah, okay, well, it's cool. We're going to practice right now.
Right.
So right now we're going to play. Let me show you some things, know. And some kids come in, and adults even, that are like, they thought they wanted to learn to play, or then they discover real quickly, it's like, well, this is way harder than I thought. I thought I was going to like learn to play this amazingly thing in just like 2 lessons. But they also get in here and realize, well, okay, this is going to take longer than I thought, but man, he's really nice. Well, he's really patient, or like they're really nice people here. Like everybody's had
they obviously love what they're doing.
Everybody has had an a-hole teacher or coach, right? We've all had that.
Oh yeah.
And we've also all had teachers who like expected some things from us, but they were very nice and very encouraging, and we liked going to their class. Maybe we didn't love science, but we loved Coach whoever. Or Mrs. whoever, who was our science or English teacher.
Park.
Mrs. Nixon was a freaking hard-ass English teacher. And she expected us, but she cared about you,
Right.
So we liked her, even though she was hard.
My dad.
Angela's dad.
Teacher.
Freaking Coach Winton.
I made a B in his class.
You made a B in your dad's class?
I did.
You think he would have, little nepotiz, given you an A+.
That's not how my dad rolls.
Right? So I realized with various students that came here, and some have come in like, you really don't have much natural aptitude for music. Some people struggle more than others.
Yes.
And now that's not the end of the story, because there are people, I've had students with less talent than someone else achieve way more because they actually sat down and worked at it.
They wanted to accomplish
it. And the person with more talent were like, Or as soon as it got a little bit harder for the person with talent, they're like, oh, I can't do this.
Yeah. I have one like that. He went from piano and then he was like, I want to try a guitar, and he did guitar, and he he zoomed through the first book. Like he got it. He understood it because he already had been taking piano for a couple years. But then it started getting harder, like towards the end of, it started to the end of that book, the first book, it got a whole lot harder memorizing and trying to get the chord hands and positions and getting those calluses. And he was just like, oh man. So he quit and went back to piano.
As soon as it got a little bit hard.
But he had a natural aptitude, and I was just like, oh, if you would just practice. Oh my gosh. But he is such a cutie, and we have so much fun. And he'll go, oh, can I just skip to book 12? I'm like, you don't even know how to play. You can't even tell me what that note is. No, you may not. And his mom's in there laughing. But I have a great, rapport with him, and we joke about it. I was like, no, we can sit here all day. Yeah. I'll have you play CG, CG, CG every single day until you get it right and tell me what it is. You're like, oh, okay, fine.
Well, part of it's, understanding people and having, we're both like people persons. You know what I mean? And I probably have a lot of patience, I guess, for teaching beginners.
We both do.
But I remember what it's like to be a struggling beginner at a lot of things. So I remember being like, oh man, even though I had talent and I could pick things up, I had no confidence. But no matter how much talent you have, eventually you get to where it's like, this is hard.
Yeah.
But I remember that.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of getting to know each student too and figuring out why they're here. Like the one student I had, he was a young man, he was like 18, 19, and like he had some learning challenges and stuff. And he was struggling on the guitar, and I'm like, he wasn't really practicing very much either, but even without practicing, he was struggling, and I could see him getting very frustrated very quickly trying to do something simple. I'm like, hey man, it's cool. Let's hold on, slow down a little bit. Let's take it a little bit bite-sized pieces, and I could see he's like, I didn't practice, and like I was going to yell at him about it. I'm like,
yeah, because honestly, kids are used to adults yelling at them, so adding their music teacher to that, it's not a good thing. So.
And I would just gently remind him, I was like, no, listen. So you didn't really practice? He's like, I was like, well, one of the main reasons you're struggling right now is you didn't really practice at that. I said, but we're going to do what we can right now. I was like, listen, if you come in and you didn't practice because you had this or that or there's a trip or something, or whatever their excuse is, it's like, listen, I'm not going to yell at you, man. Like, I'm not going to come down on you and call you names. And
I do.
Angela will. She will destroy you. She will punch you in the kneecap.
The only time I ever do that, like
she'll get you in the kneecap with a tire iron. Well, if it's a turd.
Brass knuckle, pop right in the kneecap.
If they're really sassy kid.
If they're sassy. I go,
if the student's disrespectful.
Pump them brakes. Okay, Mama Angela's coming out. But, so yeah.
Yeah, we don't really have too many of the disrespectful ones. Not for long. Anyways, but I had to realize, like, he's here for another reason. He's probably not ever going to be a great guitar player or musician, but that's not maybe why he's here. And so I tried to, it was slow going, but I tried to be a positive influence on him.
Right.
So it doesn't bother me really. Like I had a student today came in, one of our great students. She practices all the time. She's like, I didn't really practice this week. I'm like, that's cool. All right. Well, obviously we don't need to. You're going to practice this song again for next week because you didn't practice it. There's no point in hammering it right now, so I'm going to teach you something else. Let me talk about this and how these keys work, what chords are in what keys, and how this will actually help you. Because she plays in the worship band at church. She's like, let me give you something else. Because there's no point me beating you over the head of what we did last week's lesson. You know what to do with that. You just go home and do it. But let me show you something new that you don't know, right? Try to keep it exciting and not, like they dread coming to the lessons. Like, oh, I didn't practice. Mr. Ryan's going to be so mad. Oh my gosh! And then they're dreading showing up.
And we've never come off that way. That's what's so sad to me. Whenever they feel that
way. But if
you
show up to school and you didn't do your homework, what does the teacher say?
The teachers blow up at them because they didn't get their work done.
Or you missed a practice, and then you show up to the next football practice. What's the coach going to do?
Right.
Rip your head off, right? So,
but
try not to do that.
Another thing I would like to add before we move on to the next thing is that know the age group which you feel comfortable teaching. Because let me tell you, younger than 8th grade, I'm talking about 14 years and younger, will be like pulling teeth. They're the most apathetic, sassy, infuriating group of people ever. You might have that one or two like special kid that just wants to do music and that's all they've ever wanted to do, and they'll sit at the edge of their seat, but all the rest of the time they're just like, oh no, you know, or they don't want to talk, or they just, you know, they just have this apathetic attitude. So if you cannot handle that, I would go for older. I would go high school age and older. And a high schooler, if they're signing up for music, more than likely they truly really want to be in music. That's one thing we've learned, is that you know, you'll have a 10-year-old that's always wanted to play the guitar, and mama said, and grandpa plays, and blah, blah, blah. And then when they come in and they realize how hard it actually is, because they see uncle doing it, uncle plays by ear, uncle can play all these cool songs, but uncle has calluses, like he walks on his hands. Yeah. So
I sharpen chainsaws with my fingertips.
Yeah. So they don't understand that he has little baby fingers, and little baby 10-year-old fingers are going to take a lot longer to get to where uncle's hands are, because uncle's hands are, he's a roughneck. And so the attitude and the frustration is going to come out. Mm-hmm. And to be able to explain that to kids, it's really hard to, especially if grandma and grandpa have pumped them up so much that now they think that they are the, you know, the next, you know. Yeah.
Piano is good for younger kids. Guitar is really not.
No.
Really, ideally, in a perfect world, at least 12. Mm-hmm. 12 and up on guitar is really what should happen. Now, we've taken kiddos that are 9, 10, 11 on guitar. And we've had a couple of 10-year-olds who started at 10 and are still with us, or they made it to like 15 and like, man, they're playing. Mm-hmm. But that is the exception and not the rule.
Yeah, I would say 1 out of every 20 kids will be that kid.
Yeah.
But it takes, you know, there's a lot of them that they just don't understand what it takes.
And if you want to teach and you're like, no, I don't take kids under this age. Mm-hmm. You can do that. You can say,
totally
no,
do that.
Oh, my 9-year-old wants to learn. It's like, well, I only teach 12 and up.
They have to be 12
you know, you're allowed to set your own rules as a teacher.
I did that with vocal students for the longest time, because like literally 9 times out of 10 it was like, my 3-year-old has an amazing voice, I would love to have you to teach them, because I think they're going to do. I'm like,
what?
No.
What's up? What's up?
No. Or my 5-year-old, she's just so amazing. I was like, she doesn't even have teeth. Like, she's lost 3 of her teeth. How amazing can she be? And there are some that are. Don't get me wrong. I haven't met any. But I, you know,
so far all the ones that came to you
have not been those, you know, little Christina Aguileras who sang it for at last, like Etta James, you know.
Now again,
you know,
1 in 10 million.
Yes,
Christina
literally.
Aguilera. Well, she was singing when she was 5. It's like, well, your daughter's not Christina Aguilera. Does your daughter at 5 sound like Christina Aguilera? There's not a lot of Christina
Aguileras out there.
Does your daughter at 5 sound like Christina Aguilera at 5?
Yeah.
No? Her voice lessons ain't gonna help her.
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. So you know, there's always that. So again, know your age group, know your patience level, and if you're willing to be like, yeah, I'll teach a 5-year-old guitar, because some people do. Some people definitely do teach 5-year-olds. I don't recommend it. I think what Ryan said, 11, 12 is like the lowest you should probably go. Know your age limit, but if you're willing to do it and you know you have patience, just lower your standard of what you expect them to achieve, and don't be so hard on them, because you don't want to be like a Romanian gymnast coach, you know.
Or the little kids in China who are like, I saw these 7 Chinese kids playing guitar together on stage. Like, yeah,
do you want their
you
life?
Saw that. You didn't see the other. You didn't see the other 23 hours of their day.
Yes. It's like, literally, you do not want that life.
You see the
to
end
get
result.
To that point.
You don't see what they go through.
No.
To do that.
And most kids don't. But we can't expect them to put in that kind of effort in order for them to be the best student they can be. You just know that they're going to get up there, they're going to forget their songs when they perform, and they're going to crack their voice, and you're just like, good job! You got up there! It was horrible, but you got up there.
But a lot of people won't get up there.
You know, a lot of people won't. Most of these adults out here don't even have that much, you know,
you started
boldness.
This music journey.
You did it. Good for you. And that's about it.
And the next time it'll be better.
The next time, hopefully.
After that, hopefully it'll be better.
It'll be better. And good job.
Yeah. Thanks for the question, Pat. Great question. And some people are not cut out to teach. And that is okay. There are some musicians like, oh, I couldn't do that. I'm like, you probably couldn't. And that's okay.
Yeah.
It is fine. You
But
can,
I
you
say
can be a
try.
musician.
I say at least try. But understand yourself. Be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Because that's where a lot of teachers don't get it. Even teachers now, like teachers, like out there teaching like math and English and science, they realize, oh yeah, I hate third graders. They're horrible, you know, and they're like, I should have gone to high school. Or high school people are like, I hate teenagers. I should teach kindergarten. You know, like you don't realize it until you actually do what
you group get in there
that you actually feel and click with. So,
Thanks for the question, Pat. In-depth one. All right, comment of the day is our next section.
yay!
Comment of the day.
Well, you say well. Comment of the day. Comment of the day goes to Flipside Music
What?
in Denver, Colorado.
Silliness.
Flipside Music says, yeah. Come on up to Denver. I'd like to invite myself to Austin. So we talked about going to vacation in Denver. Flipside Music's about to close on their building, getting a bigger place, about to take over the world. I just had a long phone conversation with Ike.
Yeah, we should have wore
I said it.
Flipside Music shirts. We'll
You
do
know,
that next week.
I almost did, but mine are all too big now. They make me look fluffy because they're oversized.
And you only send Ryan shirts, so I don't ever get a size that actually fits me.
Ooh.
I wear a medium in men's. I wear a medium.
There you go, Ike. So we had a great chat. They are about to close on a building and a property and do a grand opening. Well, they got to close on the property, get the keys, and then go in and build it out.
So they got a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
right
So
now.
maybe he said maybe in mid-July or something they might have, a grand opening of their new place, right?
Cool.
But we were talking about me going down to Austin. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go down to Austin, hang out with Adam.
Going
Lamar.
down to Austin, going to have ourselves
Going down to
time.
Austin, going to have myself a time. Skate on some skateboards and breed my beer with Adam. Play some guitar riffs. Angela just said before we started this, she's like, it would be funny if me and Ike went down to Austin and we were skateboarding with Adam.
Yes.
Like we'd have to film that. I'm like, yeah, and I'm gonna intercut some sweet, sweet Tony Hawk moves. And like, oh my God, look at Ryan. And it's like, that looks like Tony Hawk. I'm like, well, I cut my beard.
For that clip.
For that one clip, I had it tucked in my shirt and I had my helmet on.
And the chin strap. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was the chin strap.
And at the chin strap to my helmet, you couldn't tell. You could see me
and
doing
shades and
some sweet half pipe moves. Moves. Yeah. So he wants us to come up to Denver for the grand opening.
I would love to. That'd be awesome.
I'll see what we can do. One of our sons has a job, so he can't just take off work. But
Yeah.
we'll see. But he's supposed to let me know when the final hardcore grand opening date is, and we'll see what the schedules look like. But he also does want to come down and visit. And he's working on this, remodeling this old camper van RV thing.
Yeah.
And he's gonna come on down to Texas. I said, well, come on down to the first Monday, world's biggest flea market, or America's biggest flea market. That's probably not the world's biggest flea market.
Yeah, something like that.
Might be. Anyways, thanks for your comment of the day, Flipside Music, my man Ike. There you go. Comment of the day. Next question, Mr. LD. Angela, you don't like Blade 2? Man, that's my favorite one. It's way darker and meaner, plus the villain is awesome. We won't speak of Blade Trinity. Hey Ryan, what software do you record with, and do you use any third-party plugins or any outboard gear? Hashtag Team Dean. Well, great question, Mr. LD. I use Logic, which is, I have my MacBook Pro over here. And so most of if I'm recording music or recording stuff for my single or recording parts for the Bitter Bassman stuff, actually we use a lot of GarageBand for a Bitter Bassman. Like everything's in GarageBand, which you can export that as a wave and then you could import it into Logic or whatever. So he does most of his stuff in GarageBand. I have GarageBand as well. And sometimes if it's just a real quick idea, I'll throw it into that. because it's just quick and easy. If I want to get a little more in depth with it, I will import that into Logic, which is just GarageBand is just a stripped down version of Logic. It is just Logic with less options. In fact, you can open GarageBand projects in Logic and it turns it into a Logic project. So that's what I use. A Logic project. As far as outboard stuff, plugins, I think I have the Superior Drummer or Easy Drummer or something for like drumming stuff, and maybe a couple of other things like that. Usually I just mic up a cabinet and I record. Like for guitars, I will mic up either my Mesa Boogie or the Devil Cat Jimmy. Or I'll, if I'm doing bass stuff, I'll just go direct, plugging it in with the bass. But that's about it usually. I don't have any extra outboard compressors or crazy stuff. So it's all really just within Logic. That's what I use. Super easy, barely an inconvenience if you have a Mac. GarageBand is great. You can actually do a crap load of stuff in GarageBand, and it's pretty intuitive, easy to use. I haven't used a different recording software in a long time. I used to have a copy of Pro Tools back in the day, and we did some Pro Tools stuff when I was in college. Yeah. And I've used Reaper is good because it's free, basically free, quote unquote. But I've had so many problems with PCs, like dying and motherboards crashing, and laptop PCs. We just had bad luck with them, and I've had extremely great luck with the Mac. And so I'm like, man, all right.
That's technically my Mac.
That one? Is it?
But, yeah.
I thought the MacBook Air was your Mac.
Yeah, but
all right, you can have that one. I'll get me a new one.
Little.
You didn't like the Air?
Don't they have like discs, like CD-ROMs in it, or whatever you call it? I don't know.
Disk drives? Not anymore, they don't. The newer ones don't.
Oh my gosh.
You have to buy an external drive and then plug it in and then put the disc in. So. But yeah, I use that. Logic for the serious stuff. GarageBand for the quick and simple stuff. Pretty easy to use. Get you a Mac. They're great. Love them. Thanks for the question, Mr. LD. Next question. Just fun guitar. Hashtag.
Skrinky skrinks.
Hashtag Team Dean. I'm rolling. Hashtag Team RNA, hashtag KTMA. Thanks for the answers, my friends. So, new question. What is the biggest objective you have right now as a business? Ooh.
To stay in business.
Finish my 2020 taxes. To not go out of business? That's a good one. Probably, finish my 2020 taxes.
Yeah.
Because it's complicated when you're self-employed. But really, let's see. Well, number one is like try to get some gear in. Like we have probably the least amount of guitars we've ever had in stock here on the wall.
Sad.
Yeah, but just like everything else, some days you can't hardly go buy a boat anywhere. Like if you want a boat, great, they're all sold out everywhere. Cars, at least locally here in Texas in the areas, like you can't hardly go to a car lot; they're all empty.
Like ours is.
Can't buy any ammo because the shelves are empty. It's crazy. There's plenty of toilet paper. You can get toilet paper now.
Now there's toilet paper.
But a bunch of other stuff is like you can't hardly get it. And with guitars, it's like that. Most of the suppliers are like, well, we're all sold out. Oh, yeah, we have a container coming in next month, but it's already sold out too. Back ordered.
That's how it's been. So getting inventory.
Is something that we're trying to get. Trying to do right now. Finding possibly some part-time teachers to come on and teach with us, because again, like we're pretty much maxed out. Like you can only teach so many 30-minute lessons in a day, and then that's as many as you can do. So the only other option you have is hire some more part-time teachers, or the real objective is Texas truck.
No.
The real serious objective, though, that's actually going to make the thing that would make the biggest difference, I think, in our business is doing some more online stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't mean selling guitars online. I mean,
because no inventory.
Yeah, because you can't really get that, and that's a whole nother mess. We've done that before. That's a whole can of worms that can turn into a nightmare real quick. But No, I mean like selling digital products, like doing lesson programs. That's been on the back burner for me for a long time. Doing some guitar courses, maybe some music theory courses.
Yeah, see, we could do that on our Peloton. What's it called?
Peloton? That's an exercise bike.
Oh.
It's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Pandemonium. What do you call it?
Pandora.
The thing where people pay you to do stuff. I'm trying to think of a few
That's
words.
not legal, actually. Prostitution.
He's a prosecutor.
He's a prosecutor.
You know, Patreon. Thank you.
I was like,
It sounded the closest, right? Peloton.
Peloton. I was like,
Peloton.
what are we doing? Yeah, Patreon. Musical prostitution. That's what we're doing.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
No, some courses. I have friends that have been teaching not even as long as I have.
What's it called again?
Guitar courses.
No.
Peloton. Patreon.
Oh, stop saying the wrong one.
I don't know what you're asking me. What's it
like,
called again? Like, I've already moved on to another thought.
Patreon.
Patreon.
So yeah, that's where we should do that. Okay, never mind.
That's a terrible idea.
Okay.
That's not what
Don't
that's
say
for.
terrible idea, because my ideas aren't terrible.
They're not. That is not what Patreon's for.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're talking about online courses.
Online courses, guitar courses, guitar lesson packs, lesson plans, stuff like that.
Bundles.
Bundles, yeah, because I got friends who done that. I have friends who we've been teaching about the same length, or they've not taught quite as long, and they've recently switched to doing a lot of online stuff, and they're killing it. I mean, like, give me fuel, give me $5 in a year from selling guitar. Like, here's how you play.
Closing our doors.
Here's how you strum a G chord.
So if you don't want to teach children, what you're saying is...
Yeah, and I mean, I'm talking like, everybody knows Marty Schwartz and Justin Sanderco and all these guys who basically teach kind of beginner guitar stuff online. I have a friend who's doing that, who's only been doing it for like a year or two now, and she's killing it. I'm like...
That's awesome. So that's what we would do.
I need to do more of that.
Yes.
Because you can only reach so many people, like I said, in person, you can only teach so many 30-minute lessons.
True.
And there's a ceiling.
Almost booked.
But if you have some courses and bundles, you can make the bundle, and then, man, 50,000 people could buy it.
Right.
I've bought bundles. I have lesson packs and bundles from David Wallman, who's a great friend and a great guy. I have some of Robert Baker's lesson bundles that I've bought. That I bought it because I support him. I've got some of Fluff's. He has the lesson stuff on like recording, how to record guitar demos and how to do better recording for rock guitar stuff. Like, I'll buy that. First of all, we're friends. Second of all, I've watched a million of his videos, and I'm like, that's a reasonable. Like, yeah, I'll pay $30 for that.
Yeah.
But you know, if 3,000 people give you $30, that's some cabbage. You could pay your rent and buy groceries for your giant children.
A year. Free.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So it makes sense. I mean, if 1,000 people, if 1,000 people gave you $10, you know, that's
$10,000.
That's some money. You could, you know, pay your taxes. Inflation. So really,
you can buy a gallon of gas.
You could buy half of a house in.
You could.
Somewhere.
In Texas.
Yeah.
You could literally buy half a house.
You could buy half a house in Texas with $10,000. You could buy an acre of land, right? Yeah. Anyways, that would be to reach more people, going a little bit more digital with digital products and lesson packs and bundles. That's something I've been meaning to do for forever, and just...
It's on the top of the list.
Yeah.
Chris, just... remind him. Send him messages.
Poke me in the...
How's that online curriculum going?
How's your courses? How are your guitar courses coming? Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. And there's 7 billion people on the planet. So, you know, you don't have to sell 1 million copies of something. You get, if 10,000 people bought it, if 1,000 people bought it, if 100 people bought a $100 course from you.
Hey.
You know, and there are people doing that all over the world, doing that kind of stuff. So really, that's one of my things. Like, I need to do more of that stuff. I mean, I teach all day, every day, but you know, you can only teach maybe 10, 12 students a day, 14 maybe, and that's it. If you want to help more people, that's kind of the way to go, I think, for us. So, thank you for the question, Just Fun Guitar. If you guys and gals have ideas for like what kind of courses would you like to see? Have you bought guitar courses from other people? Did you like them? Did you not like them? Were you satisfied?
What did you not like about them?
Were you disappointed?
What did you like about them?
I've bought some that I was disappointed in because I was like, I paid $15. I was like, it's a 15-minute video. That was not really worth it.
Yeah.
And I've paid $20 and I'm like, this is 2 hours of video for $20. I'm like, this is more than enough information for what I paid. I feel like they over-provided for what I paid. And I've bought stuff that I paid and I thought I really got under-provided what I paid. That is not what.
Right.
So finding balance there. But let us know what would y'all be interested in learning? What's something you're struggling with? You know, let us know. Thank you, Just Fun Guitar. Final question. Thank the Lord. It is 9 p.m. Holy crap.
My God.
9 p.m. Thursday night.
Okay.
May 27th, 2021.
Let's not talk about it.
Final question. Midnight Wind. You have no idea, Midnight Wind. Hashtag Team Dean. Have you noticed how all the vocalists sound alike anymore? I can't tell any of them apart. Even country is doing it. Used to be every band had a sound, and now they all have a sound too, but it's the same sound though. Maybe it's just me. All right. Great question, Midnight Wind. Angela, have you noticed all vocalists sound alike anymore?
Yeah, well, not, yeah, I have. I've noticed that there's this certain style that I call it like 70s folk person, artist, like they're all trying to sound kind of, but with an edgy, techno-y, I don't know, it's like folk. It's like this weird, I don't know, it's really weird that they're starting to blend a lot of their songs and sound, or they're adding too much rap.
You have any examples?
I can't tell you who they are.
Right. You just hear the songs.
I just hear them and I'm like, oh, that's not that person. Oh, I thought that's who that was, because a lot of them do sound alike to me. And then it's really interesting that they are trying to blend the same aspects of their music across the board through R&B, you know, country, some like techno pop, whatever, I don't know.
Pop.
But it's like techno. It has like a, you know, like a disco-y sound to it. So, I don't know. But I get what you're saying. A lot of the girl vocals, it seems like everybody sounds the same. Yeah. It's annoying. It's annoying. That's why I don't really listen to a lot of music. Like today, I listened to Ed Sheeran. I listened to a couple of songs from Ed Sheeran in the past, but it was only like coincidentally because it was played everywhere. One of them being from Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, and so I was like, oh, I'll listen to Ed Sheeran. Oh, I actually like this album, and like it came out in 2014. So
not new exactly.
So,
but there's not a lot of people.
That's the kind of music listener I am, because I am so like decades behind, because I like what I like. So hearing things today, I'm just like, it's trash. But then I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about this person from 20 years ago. And I'm like, that sounds really good.
I was just telling a story today how I listened to Testament, which is like a big thrash band. Like, you know, they came up kind of same time as Metallica and Megadeth, Anthrax. They were sort of the lesser popular. You had the big four, Anthrax, Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer. You know, they were like the guys. And then like Testament was kind of like right there nipping at their heels. And like I knew who they were. I know Alex Skolnick is their guitar player. Read interviews with Alex and like what, you know, never really listened to their music. But they're thrash. They're like thrashy thrash. And then I saw an interview the other day and somebody said, oh man, one of their songs from an album in 2012 came out, and they were like, what is this? And he said the name of the song and the name of the album, and I was walking and I was like, notice it, let me go look at that later, because I like me some thrash. I came back and listened to it. I was like, what are this? Why have I never listened to Testament? I went to their 2012 album. Right? Not going back to their albums from the 80s. I mean, the good news is they have like 500 albums. So I can like, I was like, I knew who they were, but I never really listened to them.
Right.
And I'm like, pulled it up on YouTube, just listened to that whole album. I was like, oh my God, these guys are, I mean, I knew they were good, but it was never like, never really dived in because they weren't Megadeth and they weren't Metallica. And I was like, well, you know, how good could they be? They're not Pantera.
Right.
And I was like, oh wait, they're real good.
Well, it just seems like today's music, well, like when we were younger, everybody had their own thing. Like you wouldn't see Sting being like, wow, Metallica's song, you know, Enter Sandman was really popular. Let me write a song that's just like Enter Sandman. You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't have like, you know, whomever, it doesn't matter. Like Ice Cube going, man, that, you know, Sinead O'Connor song was really popular. I'm going to do a song just like Sinead O'Connor.
In that style.
You know what I'm saying? But it seems like today, it's like you have, you know, whatever name, Meghan Trainor do a song, and then like even the older girls who've been in music all their life, like Christina Aguilera, speaking of going back in the day, they're like, wow, that song from Meghan Trainor was really popular. Let me write a song just
I
like
want to
Meghan
record
Trainor.
one that sounds like that.
And then you have somebody in the country music industry who was like, wow, Christina did really well with that kind of Meghan Trainor type song. Let me do one. And then you have Reba freaking McEntire playing a song that sounds like a Meghan Trainor song, which is really an adaptation from Christina Aguilera's adaptation of Meghan Trainor. Like it's like that. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's just like that, where everybody's trying to be like their own person. Where back in the day, it was just like, no, Garth Brooks was just Garth Brooks. You know, Brooks and Dunn was just Brooks and Dunn. Hank Williams Jr. was just Hank Williams Jr. George Strait was just George Strait. Metallica was Metallica. Anthrax was just Anthrax. You didn't have people.
You weren't going to confuse
and the people,
Slayer and
right?
Metallica.
And the people who sounded like them were in their own genre. Were in their own group. And then you had people that come out like Foo Fighters who were just like, what? Or Dave Matthews Band. It was just like, where do I put this?
Yeah, where's your budget Dave Matthews Band?
Right, or Alanis Morissette. You have these people who are just like, that's who they were. But then now if Alanis Morissette came out today, like she was this 20-year-old girl from Canada that came out today, everything would sound like Alanis Morissette. Every girl. You would have like 7 Christian artists who sound like Alanis Morissette, 3 or 4 country music artists, because that's basically Christian music, that would come out and sound like Alanis Morissette. Like you would have a rock, you know, everybody would sound like Alanis Morissette.
I see it mostly because I read this question. I was like, I don't know if I don't really if I noticed that, but I'm a rock guy, so I mostly listen to freaking baby Led Zeppelin. What's her names?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
There you go. All right. So that, you know, but other than those guys who want to be Led Zeppelin,
I know, but Led Zeppelin, that's a huge jump.
but
like that's
first album.
Their grandparents' music.
Yeah. But I don't see that as much as rock. Country, it seems to really like, who is this? Is this a different person? I thought this was this person.
Right.
It's very formulaic, bro country. Not like the real country, guys. I'm not talking about like, because there's still like red dirt, Texas country, outlaw country kind of people who are like keeping it real. But the commercial bro country stuff, it's all like, that could have been any of 5 different or 6 or 10 different country players.
And I wouldn't know the difference.
In country, I see a lot of that, and in contemporary Christian, there's a ton of that where they're like, oh, what's her name? She's like, oh, she thinks she's Adele.
Yes.
Like, that song is literally, they stole an Adele song
and rewrote it.
The chord progression, the vibe, the tempo, the tone, timbre of her voice is like, oh, she's trying to be Adele, but singing Christian. All right.
What's her name? I can't think of her name.
I see you.
I always forget her name.
Yeah, I do too.
Because I don't like listening to her.
Yeah,
for that reason.
She annoys me because I'm like, just be you. Don't be the Christian Adele. First of all, you're not as good as her. And just be you.
Yeah.
Just be you. Find your own voice.
And everybody, I remember when she first came out with like the newest album, that once she became like this family name, which I can't. It's so funny because we can't even think of her name. Good Lord. And I was even reading an article because she was on The Voice like night before last. She was actually on not competing, but she was like a guest star of the Voice, yeah, to do a special song. And
Lauren Daigle.
Lauren Daigle, thank you. I saw the initials in my head.
Lauren
I could
Daigle.
not see it. So her newest album came out, and like all my friends who are Christians, they were like, "This is the best, most amazing album I've ever heard. Like, it is so powerful. It spoke to me." And I was like, "Oh wow, you know, I don't really care for her voice that much." So I was like, I mean, there's a few songs I'm like, I like the way it was written, so I'll listen to it. And I started listening to it. I was like, this is Adele's album 21. This is literally Adele's album 21, almost verbatim. Like, you can match the songs and almost you can literally match the songs, and it's like
Track 1, track 1, track 2.
I mean, not necessarily like that, but I mean, as an Adele fan, like, I'm an Adele fan, so it's just, I was like, no, I can't. And I love Christian music, but I'm like, I can't.
Where was it? Rebecca St. James was one who was really bad about whatever was the hit at that moment. She would record a song.
Re-record it sometimes.
Sometimes re-record that song.
Yes. Like it didn't matter who did it. And there's quite a few Christian artists that do stuff like that. Phillips, Craig and Dean. Of course, we say that, and every time everybody's like, oh, I love Phillips, Craig and Dean.
I like their song that they wrote, blah, blah, blah. Like, they didn't write that song.
Hillsong wrote that.
That's a freaking Paul Balash song.
That's a freaking Chris Tomlin song.
Chris Tomlin wrote that. That's Phillips, Craig and Dean singing.
I was like, that is
Chris
not their
Tomlin's
song. I don't think they've written an original song since they first came out. Like, honestly.
Why write your own songs when you can
covers.
just cover someone else's song that literally just came out?
And make money off of a cover.
I mean, it would literally be like Megadeth going, you know what? Metallica just did this Enter Sandman thing.
That would be
We're going to do a version of Enter Sandman.
That would not
It's going to be also popular. Like the same year. Not like, you know, they did a Black Sabbath song. We're going to do a Black Sabbath song on our record.
Mm-hmm.
Different songs, so it doesn't matter. But it's like,
yeah.
Like, they did
track 1, we're going to do track 2. And they did track 3, we're going to do track 4. So yeah, I noticed it. There was a long explanation, but there you go.
I don't think it's as current in rock and metal. I don't think. And there's
I think it's through country and pop.
Yeah, country, pop, contemporary Christian, for sure. Rock, I think, is a little bit less. Now, there's always bands that come out and do something new, and then there's always sort of copycat bands that come along and do something similar. But I don't even think it's very, like when the new metal came out. You know, you had like Korn and Limp Bizkit were like kind of the big new metal bands. It was like you could tell the difference between them. They were like, they're different bands. It's not like one of them's Limp Bizkit is generic Korn, right? You know, they're different. And even like Linkin Park came out. There were other bands who kind of did kind of Linkin Parky kind of things, but it's like you didn't confuse them with Linkin Park. Breaking Benjamin is not Linkin Park. Easily distinguishable. And even all the grunge Seattle bands, you did not confuse Soundgarden with Pearl Jam.
No.
You did not confuse Soundgarden with, you know,
Goo Goo Dolls.
Yeah, or Nirvana. You know, it's like, you're not even going to confuse
Third Eye Blind.
You're not even going to confuse Foo Fighters with Nirvana. That's like, it's not even.
That's two different doors.
Right? You know, you're not going to confuse Alice in Chains with
Alice Cooper.
Yeah, it's. We're talking grunge, but so even.
I'm just saying, like, people would be like, "What is that?" No.
Ozzy Osbourne, Alice Cooper, same thing.
Same thing. Right.
Is it though? Yeah, I think it's more painfully obvious in other styles. But all right, that's enough of that.
There you go.
You got any ideas for the secret? All right, we'll think of something. All right, thank you guys so much. If you enjoyed this video, please ask a question down below for next week's video, and hopefully, possibly, I was like, possibly, we will read it. And but right now it's time for secret hashtag of the day. If you watch this entire video, which is really long, I'm not excited about that because it's a lot of editing.
Yeah, it is.
Apparently, we like to talk tonight.
Apparently.
Secret hashtag of the day, if you watch this entire thing from beginning to end, is... What?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought you knew.
No. You were like, well, come up with something. I'm like...
I thought, I don't know, maybe something's kicking around in your noggin. It'd be like, hashtag prostitution. No? Okay.
Peloton, not prostitution. You
No.
don't ever want to hashtag prostitution. My God.
Yeah, we don't want that. Hashtag Peloton.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what it is. Man, the popo is like somebody doing something in Canton, Texas right now.
Apparently.
They were text our son, make sure he's okay. Son, what are you doing? Where you at?
Look at these dumb random text messages.
Hashtag dumb random text.
I like Peloton.
I don't even know how to spell that. I'm gonna look it up. Hashtag Peloton. We'll know that you watched this entire stinking video from beginning to end. There were a couple comments, by the way, about the super secret behind the scenes
Oh.
special.
What was it? I don't know.
Well, you know, I guess you have to go read the comments or watch the video. You didn't watch the video?
No.
Oh man,
I lived the video.
you lived it. You didn't need to watch it, so you don't know what the secret post-credit scene is.
Oh.
A couple of people.
Tell me about it.
A couple of people watched the post-credit scene last week and commented about it.
Nice. Well, I don't remember
Yeah.
doing anything post credit.
Well, because it was before it was
There
at the
you
very
go.
beginning.
Oh, whenever
then-
I was singing. That's right.
And I cut that and
Mm-hmm.
I put it at the very end. So sometimes there's secret post-credit scenes,
Oh,
but you
God.
won't know unless you watch the whole thing.
Doo-doo-doo.
Hashtag Peloton. Until then, we'll see y'all in the next video. Keep the music alive.
Don't forget it.
Music needs you.
And you need the music.
And we need to keep it alive for the next generation of people who don't practice.
That's right.
But maybe they will.
Maybe they will.
Maybe this week they're going to
never
practice.
know. And that's the fun.
And that's half the battle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's extreme violence. We'll see y'all next week.
Hi. Nicholas texted me back. Pretty good. Just still taking deliveries. Thank you, Bubba. Happy mom. Son is safe. These sirens weren't for him.
Yay.
Yay. And Christine, my niece, just had a baby and they're home from the hospital.
Nice.
Jaden Cole.
Jaden
7 pounds, 10
Cole.
ounces.
Oh, it's a little baby.
He was a little baby.
We have giant babies.
Yes, we do.
10 pounds, 9 ounces.
Nicholas was 10.9. Aiden was 8.6. But he was 3 weeks early.
And 2 knots in his umbilical
And
cord.
3 knots.
3?
3 knots in his umbilical
Oh, yeah,
cord.
2.
Yeah. The one small one that was tight and then 2 loose ones.
Yeah, so he should have been 17 pounds.
They thought 13.
My cousin was 13.
Yeah.
Aiden could be as big as Nicholas.
I think he's going to be taller than Nicholas.
Man, you think so?
I think so.
Crap.
He just turned 16. He's already 6'4".
Yeah, but Nicholas was taller than that at 16.
I know. But that doesn't mean nothing.
Giant Texas babies. Hashtag giant Texas babies.